This is Friday Night Hangout, creating our stories, piece by piece. This is Friday Night Hangout, creating our stories, piece by piece. Exploring limitless opportunities, illuminate our path.
Imagine having a clear sense of direction, achieving your goals, and living a fulfilling life. Joy Onyeso Coaching Consult is here to help you. We will work with you to identify your strengths, overcome obstacles, and develop a personalized plan to achieve your dreams. With our coaching and consulting services, you will gain clarity, confidence, and the tools you need to succeed. Do not let fear, lack of clarity, or doubt hold you back any longer. Take the first step towards achieving your goals and living your best life. Contact Joy Onyeso Coaching Consult today. Joy Onyeso Coaching Consult, empowering you to reach your full potential. Call, SMS, or WhatsApp +234 704 229 1171, or you can visit our website www.joyonyesocoachingconsult.com. Hey, good evening, depending on where you're watching from. Welcome. This is episode 236 of the Friday Night Hangout. I'm your host. I'm Joy Onyeso. So welcome to Friday Night Hangout with me. Yeah. I'm always excited, to welcome you all into Friday Night Hangout. And tonight is no different. I'm particularly elated because the conversation we'll be having tonight is one that can set you on a very strong path to finishing 2025 very, very strong. And, starting off 2026 even stronger. Yes, we're already talking about wrapping up the year and starting of 2026. This is that time when you have to start doing the reviews. So tonight we're going to be looking at setting goals and achieving success. But before we go into that, you know how we roll, right? If this is your first time of joining us at the Friday Night Hangout, welcome. This is your safe tribe. This is that space where we have topical conversations on, different kinds of issues. We share with you tools, we share with you strategies that can enable you build your personal brand or your business brand or even your professional brand. And so welcome once again. I love to know how your week has been. Mine has been very, very interesting, but the last 24 hours has been something else. I have not been able to connect to the internet with my phone, my iPhone, and I've not been able to connect any Wi-Fi device on it. But life still goes on. We keep finding alternate ways of doing things, right? So share with us what you want us to celebrate you for. It's not just about the challenges, even the success. We've had some high points this week. I've had lots of high points on a personal level and also on the professional level. So lots of high points for me this week, and I know it's the same with you. And in this space, we love to celebrate, right? So don't forget to subscribe and join Friday Night Hangout on YouTube. We have a specialized channel on YouTube. Yes, you heard me right. So if you're not subscribed, please do hit the subscribe button and join us on Friday Night Hangout. You can get to watch previous episodes of Friday Night Hangout, and you can keep track of any session or episode that you miss. So you know how we roll here. #TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. I want to see it in the comment section. Whoa, yes. You can also use #FNH with Joy Onyeso. You put that in the comment section. That's right. Keep it coming in. Welcome. You're not late. Grab your seat. Get yourself comfortable. We're going to be discussing interesting conversation, right? Setting goals and achieving success. Now, before we go deep into how do we set goals, what are the kind of goals we want to set, what does success look like, I want you to just pause. Just pause. Take a minute. Deep down. I want you to think about one goal that means so much to you, that you're working on, and you would love to achieve it by the end of this year. I said one, not two, just one. I know you could have a whole lot. And you know why I'm asking you to focus on one? When you're able to get it right with one, you can apply the same principle to all other goals, right? Now, I want you to also think about this. When you've achieved that goal, what would it look like and what would it feel like to you? Write it down. What would it look like to have achieved that goal? What would it feel like to have achieved that goal? Take your time to articulate this and put it down. And you know why I'm asking you this question? That's because setting goals requires what we call clarity. You must be clear as to what you want to achieve. Then you can now start setting goals that will enable you to meet that or enjoy that result that you want to see. So, what are your goals? Your goals could be your priority. There's something you want to achieve. It could be a short term goal, it could be a mid term goal, it could be a long term goal, right? There are different kinds of goals you can set. Some are short term, the ones you can achieve within the next 30, 60 days. So, I'm going to be focusing conversation tonight mainly on the goals you've set for yourself to achieve before the end of 2025. And this is because we're in November, the 11th month. And so we have how many more days to the end of the year? Maybe less than 60 days, right? Maybe less than that, right? And you may think, oh, I cannot do this, I cannot do that. But I want to tell you that it's important that you have clarity. That's the starting point. Being very clear, having a deep understanding of what you want to achieve. And that's why I asked you to think about one thing that is most important to you now, that you want to check the box off by the end of 2025 to say, yes, between November and December, I was able to achieve this. Now, what we're going to do is for you to set your intentions clearly. Set your intentions clearly. What do you want to achieve? How do you want to achieve it? And what would it look like for you when you've achieved it? Because it's possible that you could hit your goal without even recognizing it. And you know why? One, when you're not clear as to the specific goal you want to hit. Two, when your success framework is based on someone else, meaning that the way you judge the success of, or having achieved the goal is based on what some other person thinks or feel. But I want you to personalize it. That goal, what was achieving that goal? What would the success of achieving that goal look like for you? What would it feel like for you? And it's different for everyone. So success is what is subjective. Success is not a singular destination. It's very subjective depending on the lens with which you're approaching the goals, depending on how it feels like for you. And success is not just about money. So when you look at someone and say, oh, this person is successful, are you just referring to financial success? Because financial success is just a bit of being successful. Success is holistic. When you have the presence of mind, the peace of mind, when you're emotionally successful, when you're financially successful, when you're physically successful, there's a whole lot about it. And so you need to unpack it and understand what it means like. So when you do, you can set goals that will enable you to achieve what that success means or looks like for you. So when you're prioritizing for the end of the year, thinking about what you want to do, I said the first thing is what? Clarity, deep understanding. I usually hold a series every first month of a new year where I talk about clarity of vision. Because when you're setting a goal, when you're talking about success, you must have clarity and you must have vision. Vision, as it suggests, it's something you want to achieve in the future. Vision is futuristic. So the goal you want to achieve is futuristic, even if it's in the short term future, or mid-term future, or long-term future. So it's something that is futuristic that you want to achieve. And you must have that clarity. You must have that deep understanding of what it looks like for you. So clarity is key. Understanding what it looks like or feels like when you've achieved it is also key. Now, the next thing is having an understanding of who you are. Knowing yourself will enable you to set effective goals. You will not just set goals because people are setting goals. You will not just set goals because you think is the right thing to do. There are certain key things you need to ask yourself about the goals that you're setting. And you want to ask yourself, is this goal I'm setting, is it in alignment with who I am? My values, my identity, my character, my beliefs. You want to be sure that you're setting goals that, even though they might stretch you, but you want to be sure that you're in alignment with the goal you're setting for yourself. So you do not do things that, you would have to struggle unnecessarily with. You're even trying to understand it. You're even trying to feel it. You're not excited or motivated about it. Your goals should make you feel motivated. And if you are in a place where you need external motivation, right, then you need to do more, because you need both internal and external motivation. The one that you give to yourself, the motivation that comes from you, is the one that is most helpful, because there's a limit to what someone else can do for you to keep you motivated. Sometimes it can just be short term, but this is where consistency comes in. The power of being consistent. Now, the sum total of what you do daily is what speaks to the future you want to create for yourself. And that's what consistency is. Just look at consistency as a compound interest. That you keep depositing. The more you deposit, the more it expands. The more you deposit, the more you expand. And that's what consistency does. So the next thing you want to think about is, how can I remain consistent through all of this? Consistency is what makes a difference between one person and the other achieving their goals. How you show up. And the beauty about consistency is, when you show up, you're inspired, you show up, you do what you want to do, you may not see the results immediately. So if you're not internally or self-motivated, what happens is, with time you give up, you get tired. If you just hit one barrier or one roadblock, the next thing you say, oh, you know what, I'm giving up. Let me share a quick story with you, what happened to me yesterday. So every Wednesday, 10 p.m. to 10:30, I host a program on Telegram called Broken But Remolded Women on Fire. It's a kingdom-based platform where we have conversations, leveraging Bible principles to become the best version of ourselves, whether as an entrepreneur or as a professional, or just as a believer. Now, I've been hosting this program for the last 3 years plus and counting. And yesterday, I hit a brick wall with my phone. I mentioned at the beginning of the program. So my iPhone Pro Max, for some reason, I can't connect to internet with it. I can't browse with it. I can't even connect any device, Wi-Fi device on it. So I can only receive calls or make calls that are not internet-based, right? I have data, I have devices, but nothing is working. And I got all kinds of consoles, switch it off, put it on, just a whole lot, and I was trying all of it. And so by the time I was hitting 9 something, I was like, okay, do I just give up on hosting this program tonight? Or, and to be candid, that thought was there. It came to say, you're having a whole lot of issues. At some point, I started even having headache because the wahala was plenty. But the power of consistency keeps you going on, even when you do not feel like it. So being consistent means that sometimes you don't even feel like doing it, but you just have to do it. Because remember, it adds up to the results you want to achieve. So you just need to show up. And I had to use my second phone, which, by the way, I don't even use it to do all of this. So we had to start trying to download Telegram, connect it to Telegram, make it an admin on the page, and all of that. And by the time we're done with that, it was almost 10 p.m., which was the time I was exhausted. But what happened? I did show up and the show went on, right? The show must go on. And what do I mean by that? Think if you are committed to a cause or to a goal, or you have your priorities, it's not going to be a walk in the park. A lot of things would happen to make you lose track. A lot of things will happen to make you lose focus. But this is where the power of consistency makes you stay. It makes you remember the why. Why is this goal even important to me? Consistency makes you non-negotiable about your goals. And that's why I said the first thing is clarity of vision. If you're not clear on what you want to achieve, why you need to achieve it, staying focused and staying consistent, even when it's difficult, becomes problematic. So the first step I'll always say is get clear. Get clear about what you want to achieve. Look beyond the surface. Why is it important to you? For instance, why do you want to go on a weight loss journey? For some people, the first thing might be to, okay, I want to lose some weight because, we talk about dirty December. I want to bang in body. I want to wear this. But beyond all of that, for a very long time, I hadn't done my exercises. I found out I was adding a lot of weight. And I've been making a lot of excuses for myself. Oh, my schedule is too tight. By the time I wake up, I'm jumping into a meeting. I can't breathe and da. But when I start having a lot of health symptoms here and there, I need to sit and ask myself, Joy, you have a lot of things God has placed in your hands. And you have a choice. You have a choice to make sure that the body God has given to you is healthy and that it can house and carry out all that God has placed in your hands. So my why became just much more than just wanting to lose weight. Yes, I want to lose weight, but that's secondary. The most important thing for me right now is to stay healthy so that I can achieve all that has been placed in my hands and I can also enjoy the harvest, right? I don't want to plant, watch it grow, and I'm not around to enjoy the harvest. So it's my greatest desire to be healthy enough to enjoy my harvest. So that becomes my driving force. So when, for instance, I'm tempted, like I was so tempted today to eat something that is not healthy, I just told myself, oh no, God, help this your daughter. And I just looked at her and said, get behind me. I'm not going to eat you. And that has been, honestly, this is the first time I'm having this kind of deep understanding and conviction of what I want to achieve on my weight loss journey, right? So it's not easy for me, but I'm just keeping track. Yesterday, I told myself, like, I have a number of days, number of times in a week, I must really work out, right? Yesterday wasn't convenient, but I told myself, Joe, you just need to. When you go in back to that thing of making excuses, you fall into the trap and that's it. So I'm telling us tonight that as an individual, you need to find out and you need to get clear about your why. And when you know it, then you remain non-negotiable about it. So that even when the days come that you don't feel like it is not convenient, life will happen, pressures will happen, you will still show up. And really, that is when your character is tested. That is when you build your muscle of resilience. It's not when things are going so well. So when you set your goals, I'm talking about setting the goals now and achieving the goals at the same time because they are all, intertwined. So we set clarity. You have clarity about the goal you're setting, why it's important to you. And then the next one is you build your consistency in staying true to the goals that you have set up for yourself. There's power in being consistent. What differentiates one achiever from the other is the power of the consistency. The power to show up even when you do not feel like it. So as you sit down to set your goal, you need to be determined. And being consistent comes with you telling yourself, I trust you to come through on this. It comes with a lot of self-esteem, confidence, and trust. So it is you, the more consistent you are, the more you're telling yourself, I trust you, I have faith in you. And you know what it does? It builds your self-confidence that you can set a goal and you go right out to achieve what you set. And I would always say the next thing I'll talk about is unpack those goals. Break them into something specific and tangible, something small that you can achieve. So don't pack too many things that you want to do at the same time that you get so overwhelmed. Sometimes you have a burst of energy, you want to do too much, and then you don't do anything again on that goal for the next 2-3 weeks. That will not help you. It's not going to push you towards the success you want to achieve. So it's better that you spend 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes consistently for the next 30 days or 60 days than spending 4 hours and you don't show up again for that particular goal. So think about it. What are you going to do? I'll give you another very practical example. Each time I want to write a book, so I do not set out to say, Joyce, and write down for 4 hours. I usually give myself sometimes a year, 12 months, sometimes more than 12 months. And I commit to writing at least 1,000 words every day. I could say, oh, Joy, okay, yeah, commit to writing 3,000 words in a week. Something very practical and tangible that I can do. So I'm not under pressure. So I'm here sharing this strategy with you. And, you know, this next one I just talked about is about unpacking it. Make it simple for yourself. You know, don't overwhelm yourself with a whole lot. And the next one in setting your goal is think about the capacity that you have. If you look at, you know, some of the core reasons why people procrastinate, one is perhaps you don't have an understanding of what needs to be done. The other one is that perhaps you do not have the requisite skills to do what you need to do. So before setting that goal, ask yourself, do I have the requisite skill to carry this through? And if I don't have, and this goal is a must do for me, do I want to, you know, step down and build my skill set so that I can achieve this goal? So as you get ready to set your end of year goals for your business, for yourself, whatever, remember this strategy. And then one other thing I've learned to do, you know, that helps me to set effective goals and achieve the success is I learn to celebrate my wins. I say this all the time. You know, celebrating your wins is a motivation. You don't need to wait for anyone to celebrate you. It could be something as simple as, you know, giving yourself the permission to watch movie for 2 hours instead of not watching at all. It could be something as simple as watching, you know, listening to music that uplifts you for 2 hours or 1 hour, whatever it may be. Or maybe something that's taking yourself out, getting yourself that dress, that shoe. But tie in a reward system to every milestone that, you know, you achieve towards getting to your goal, right? Because this helps to keep you motivated. So that's why I talked about the second thing I talked about is understanding who you are. You need to tie in your reward system to yourself, to the person that you are, because, you know, there's some, you know, rewards you give yourself that motivates you, that inspires you to do more. So get to know yourselves, get to spend time with yourself, get to know what motivates you to want to do a whole lot. If you're like me, when I achieve something small, I want to do more, I'm excited, I'm eager. And that's why you shouldn't start with huge goals. You have something huge, there's a strategy I call divide and conquer. Break it down to little bits. You see this bunch of broom, right? You know, when you take this bunch of broom and you want to break it, you want to bend it, but just take out one. Less than the second is off gone. And that's a strategy by itself. That you have a big goal, unpack it, take it little by little, bit by bit. If you listen to the Friday Night Hangout song, pay attention to it. You say, it is Friday Night Hangout, creating our story bit by bit. It's also a message by itself. You don't create your story all at once. It is bit by bit. You don't achieve your goal all at once. It is bit by bit. So be willing to go through that journey. You know, by itself, the journey is a process, and the process is as important as the results that you achieve. So pay attention to the process as much as the result. You know, when we say, oh, the end justifies the means. No, it doesn't. This is what determines that you would be successful in the long term, successful in whatever it means to you, whatever that looks or feels like to you, is that you internalize the process and you're willing to go through the process to achieve the results. And finally, while we're still talking on this, you know, I also want you to take a moment to think about what identity do you want to be known with? We have what we call identity-based habits, where people say, oh, joy is detailed focused. You want someone to put an eye on it, give it to her, she can pick out this, she can cross the T's, dot the I's. Or you can say, oh, she's health conscious. She's, so there are some identity that you build. I want you to think about this. What kind of identity do you want to be noted for as a result of the habits that you build? So when you're setting goals for yourself, think about that. That identity-based habits can be a shift for you, so that you're not just knowing or feeling that this is who you step into that. It becomes what you wear, it becomes who you are. And that's where you find yourself expanding, transforming, and listen, you're becoming the best version of yourself. And this is really critical in achieving your goals. So remember that we'll be talking about setting your goals and achieving success. And finally, so that you don't feel, sometimes we said we're too ambitious, right? And if we drop the ball, we get upset. Listen, it's all part of the process. You can set out to achieve 1, 2, 3, 4, and at the end of the day, you achieve 1, 2. But the critical thing here for me is, what lessons have you learned? What can you draw from this process and apply to the next process to ensure that when next you want to set your goals, you're setting effective goals and you're setting goals that you remain non-negotiable about. And this is very important. Because for every mistake that you make, it becomes a building block for the success that you want to achieve. So when you show me a successful person, I will show you a person who has made a lot of mistakes and has learned from those mistakes and applied the knowledge from the mistakes. So getting knowledge without knowing how to apply them is as good as not getting the knowledge at all. So for anything you go through, learn how to apply the knowledge. What we've discussed today, learn how to apply it. And that's why I'm going to give you an assignment tonight, because this is a very, very important thing that I want you to internalize and I want you to run with it. And so I will ask you to, I said at the beginning, think about one big goal that you want to achieve before the end of the year. And I'm going to ask you to break this goal down into 3 actionable steps or more. So this is the big goal right here. What are 3 or more things or actions that you need to take to enable you to achieve that goal that you so desire? And then you can expand it. Just make it very concrete and make it very tangible. And that's why we're talking about SMART goals. We often talk about SMART goals, right? Make sure that the goal is specific, because for you to be able to achieve those goals, the goal must be specific. And that's why I talked about clarity. The goals must be very specific. If you don't have clarity, it's difficult to get specific. So when you find yourself being ambiguous or being too general or being everywhere with that objective, come down and really keep asking yourself the questions. So why? Until you get to something that is very concrete, very specific. So make sure that the goal you set for yourself is specific, right? Then make sure that you can measure what it is you want to do. Make sure that you can measure. So for instance, if I say I want to lose 20 kg within the next 12 months, so within the next 1 year, that's my big goal, to lose 20 kg within the next 1 year, so I could become more healthy and more effective at what I do. So what are some of the actions I'm going to do? The first thing I would like to do is to set out for myself times when I'm going to have my workouts, my physical exercises, right? Another thing I want to do is to watch my diet, what I eat. I want to eat healthy. So I could not just say I want to eat healthy. I could say, Joy, I want to eat at least 1 healthy meal every day. Then another thing I could say, once it's 7 p.m., I'm not going to eat any food. So my last meal for the day is going to be 7 p.m., right? The next thing I could say, I want to keep myself hydrated. So I'm going to take a lot of water. I could also say I'm cutting down juice, fizzy drinks, and all of that. I'm going to stick to healthy drinks. So you see how I've broken this down to very tangible, specific things that I want to do to enable me to achieve that goal. That's what I want you to do. So when you look at all I've said, they're very specific. And because they are specific, you can measure. Did she have her exercises 3 times a week? Yes. Did she have 45 minutes exercises 3 times a week? Yes. It's measurable. So any goal that is not measurable becomes more difficult to achieve. And then you want to ask yourself, is it achievable? Right? Now, what does that really mean? For instance, with the kind of schedule I run, if I tell myself I'm going to do 3 hours workout every day, is it possible? Yes. Is it achievable for me? No. Because if I do 3 hours today, I may not do another 3 hours for the next 6 weeks. So ask yourself, within your context and your reality, is this achievable? Is 45 minutes every day possible for me with my schedule? Yes, it is very possible. Is 45 minutes 3-4 times a week possible achievable for me? Yes, it is. So you want to make sure that your goal is something that you have the capacity and within your reality is something that you can achieve. Then you want to make sure that the goals you're setting is very realistic. So realistic relevance. Sometimes we say relevant, sometimes we say realistic, right? So relevant. So is it relevant, the goal you're set? Is it relevant to the big picture you have? Is it relevant to what you want to see yourself succeed at? You know why relevance is very important. Now, if it's not relevant, the motivation to achieve it will be very, very little. Right? You find yourself procrastinating, you find yourself shift. And that's why I said, make sure that you are doing things that are in tandem with who you are, that's in alignment with your values, that are in alignment with the goals, with the big picture you have for yourself, or with your mid-term or long-term goals, right? So that, it's relevant to who you are, to who you're evolving into, or to what you want to achieve, right? And then finally, make sure that goal is time-bound. Anything that has no time is as good as not doing it. So I said I want to lose 20 kg in 12 months. That's time bound. I want to exercise 3 times a week. So make sure that every goal you set has a time frame for achieving it. So I could lose 20 kg in 5 years, but that's not it, right? So I said to myself, 12 months, time bound. And so I will measure the success of my goal by the virtue of the time frame I have set for myself. So I hope that this would help you. This is just to set the tone for you to, reflect, plan, and get yourself ready for all that you need to do. So remember the tasks I've given to you. I'm going to ask you next week who has done the assignment. And we're getting into the key season. So I'm going to have some gifts for the winners, right? So next week, I'm going to ask you to share with us one big goal that you set and the steps that you broke it down into. Thank you. Yes, I see. Good. Hashtag TGF. Good. Beautiful. Keep the comments coming in. Keep it coming in. Keep it coming in. That's great. That's great. That's great. Right. And it's time to call it a wrap. I hope you really enjoyed this session. And I look forward to seeing you same time next week. And before you run off, just hang out a little and watch this next message from us. So for now, from myself and my team here in the studio, the Friday Night Hangout studio, we love you, we honor you, and we celebrate you. And we look forward to seeing you next week, Friday. But don't go anywhere yet until you get this last message from us. Bye for now.
Joy and myself, we're having a year-end workshop. We call it a strategy workshop, where we are going to take time to understand ourselves. The workshop is in three parts. The first part is reflection. You're going to take time to reflect on your journey. How has community been helpful to me in this year? Which community has benefited me the most? So you're going to evaluate yourself in terms of your own personal journey, in terms of working with people, in terms of just personal reflection in various areas, how this year has been. And then after you do the personal reflection, we're also going to help you take some personal assessment where you'll be able to understand yourself better. Because one thing I've come to realize with personal assessment, that when you take it, it's like you say, okay, this is why I do what I do. This is why when somebody talks to me this way, I'm not happy about it because they are violating one of my values. This is why I am like this. This is why other people are different from me. So they're also going to be like personal assessment that you will take. And then we also have as a bonus the Maxwell Leadership this assessment. That one will give you a 30 or 30 page report about yourself. In fact, a lot of people when they do that assessment and they get the report, they say it's like, has somebody been stalking me? Because it will tell you a lot of things about yourself, your strengths, your leadership qualities, areas that you can still grow, areas that you can harness on knowing that this is an area that I'm strong in. And then doing all these things help you to understand yourself, that when I'm joining a community, I know what I'm bringing to the table. You know, I was saying one of the things that stop women from joining communities is fear. But when you know yourself, you'll be able to overcome that fear, because you know that, yes, I know why I am joining this community, and I know that in as much as I expect to get something out, there's also something I'm bringing to the table. And then the top part of this workshop we are having is strategic planning into 2026, because I believe that each year should be better. You should be a better version of yourself tomorrow than you are today. There's a quote that says, if you will not be better today than you were yesterday, or if you not be better tomorrow than you are today, what do you need tomorrow for? You don't need tomorrow if you're not going to be better tomorrow. So if you don't need 2026 if you are not going to be a better version of yourself. So the third part of the workshop is to help you strategically plan, so that as I move into 2026, how can I maximize the value of collaboration? Because that is one thing about community. You can collaborate with other people, just like Professor Joy and myself are collaborating now in different ways. How can I grow myself? In what ways? Having known my strengths, having known how I perform this year, how can I take it to another level? So that is what the workshop is about. And the good thing is that you can join in person. It's going to be taking place in the United Kingdom, in Reading, at the Hilton Hotel. But we're also making provision for people to join us virtually. So if you cannot be here in person, you can also join us virtually, and you will get the maximum benefit from it. Thank you.
This is Friday.